So it's now time to look at the third way of solving a quadratic equation, and it's completing the square. So just to have a quick recap, imagine you were told to solve this. So hopefully if you want to go by the quadratic formula, you would see that a equals 1, you see b equals minus 6, hopefully no one thought there was 6, and c equals 5. And then literally you plug it into the formula and you'd get your two equations. Remember using that plus and minus. One equation will come if you do the plus and the second with the minus. Alternatively, do you remember how we did it with factorization? So what we do is we start off by rewriting that bit. Because remember, at this point here, yeah, when you're here, it's kind of you're working with scales. Because remember, when you've seen equals, you're dealing with scales. So you're at this point, basically. And here's the deal, like the way it is, especially with that x squared and that x, it's too difficult to kind of rearrange this so that you get x by itself on one side. So with factorizing, you start off by just taking that bit and rewriting it in a more useful way, which helps you solve it, which was this. And then it was kind of straightforward after that. So completing the square actually goes off in exactly the same direction, in the sense that it does the same thing. So we're at this stage and it's too difficult to solve. So completing the square is another way of rewriting this. And you'll see, take a look at this thing. Yeah, let's just have a look at that and let's multiply the bracket and see what that kind of does. So let's first work out x minus 3 squared, which just literally means multiplying two brackets together, which are both x minus 3. So look, the first thing we're going to do is x squared, then we get minus 3x, then we get another minus 3x here, then we get a minus 3 times minus 3, which is a plus 9. So this all simplifies to 6x squared minus, sorry, it simplifies to x squared minus 6x plus 9. So this whole thing equals that. And now look, we're chucking on a minus 4. So now this thing simplifies to plus 5. So you got x squared minus 6x plus 5. So can you see so this whole thing is another way of writing that. So literally, we kind of take that little bit and we rewrite it this way. So what's happened now is we've changed, we're in a better position to solve this thing on the scales. Yeah, I'm going to keep the x in red because now we can actually solve it by scales. And now it's simple. We just rearrange to make x the subject. There's a few things to be careful of though. So the first thing, what we do is we add 4 to each side. Hopefully you guys can see that now this becomes x minus 3 squared equals 4. The next step you have to do is square root both sides to get rid of this square. So imagine putting a square there. Now, some of you might just think that straight away, square root of 4 is 2. That's correct. But remember, minus 2 can also be the square root of 4. Because remember, square root of 4 literally means a number which, if you multiply by itself, gives you 2. I'll talk about this more in the surds, which is our next step after quadratics. But just remember this. So when you're trying to find the square root of something, you're trying to find a number which, if you multiply by itself, gives you 4. Now obviously 2 times 2 gives you 4, but can you see also minus 2 times minus 2 gives you 4? So that's why you have to put a plus or minus, because there's 2 possible ways of doing that. And finally, you add 3. Now, you can obviously write this as plus or minus 2 plus 3, but the way I recommend you write is you write the 3 first, then the plus or minus 2. And then obviously the 2 solutions are one where you consider 3 plus 2, and one where you consider 3 minus 2. So one of them is x equals 5, and one of them is x equals 1. So these are your two answers by doing completing the square. And you would have got the exact same answers if you factorized. You would have got the exact same answers if you did the quadratic formula. So all you need to really learn is how to rewrite this bit in this kind of form. That's what they call completing the square, just the way how you factorize a quadratic. This is what happens if you complete the square of a quadratic. So that's what now I'm going to show you how to do. It's very straightforward.